All right. Well, thank you for jumping on with us for our Training Day podcast. I got my girl, Kayla Rojo, now VP of FFL Metamorphosis and killing it, coming off her best month ever. She'll tell you, followed by her best week ever. So what happens in a 5-week month is you have an extra week to hit, which increases numbers. When you have your best week ever coming off a 5-week month, that means you collapsed time. That means momentum is on your side because you just followed up. You just basically you're growing by 20% in a month by doing that. So I love it. That's serious momentum. You know what I mean? That means a lot of things are clicking right now. That also means that a lot of seeds you planted are starting to germinate and are starting to grow and are starting to harvest. So this is going to be an educational podcast because there's a lot for you to tell us, Kayla. But before we get started, can you tell us how you're doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. It's a pleasure to have you on. And like I told you, but I know I'll say it again, I'm super proud of you and what's happening. Let's talk about it. So, you are running a full-on telesales agency, yes?
Yes, sir.
All right, so just talk to us a little bit about your thought process of going that direction, and then like what have you done to cultivate, kind of develop, and start to grow that out because the momentum is there.
So when you're doing telesales, it's really important that you're not alone.
Yeah.
So I learned that being alone was my worst enemy and thinking that I could tackle things because like a lot of people, when you think sales, you think, okay, like it's personal. It's just you. And you don't have to benefit off of everybody you surround yourself with financially in order to achieve like that sort of culture. So putting myself in network around other top producers really, really helped me be able to learn how to navigate the telesales because like I have a really, really bubbly personality and in
Mm.
person or even over the camera, like it's easy to like me. And I know that, but on the phone, I can be dry. And
Mm.
it was really hard for me to integrate from being able to really sell in home because people like me compared to over the phone where you really have to provide the value. So I really made sure that I was just learning from a lot of different people in a lot of different places.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So when you say that, you've taken a collection of, things from multiple people, but then you kind of morphed it into what is happening now in your group, and which is, kind of what you've been, me knowing you, what you've been craving, and now it's starting to happen. It's making its way. Um, what did that look like? Like, what did the birthing of that and the nurturing of that look like?
It was hard. So
Hmm.
at first I felt like I didn't have a home, right? Because I was like, okay, I like pieces of this and I like pieces of that.
Hmm.
And oh, I'm seeing that that's working too. But I had to realize that I'm not Kedlin. The same things that work for Kedlin and her team, they might not work for me.
Mm-hmm.
The things that work for people that are unserved people work for them, but they might not work for me or they might not work for my people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So being able to really sit down and spend time laying everything out in front of me was probably the most important piece to because I'm such a have you ever heard coach break down the 4 colors?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm a red. I'm a really strong red. So that means that money vote motivates me. I don't like to lose. And usually a red is solo, right?
Mm.
So at this point, I had to realize if I wanted to grow, I had to be pieces of the other colors. I had
Mm-hmm.
to find the cause like a yellow would. And I had to really figure out what was really going to work for me by laying it all out and game planning. At this point, it wasn't something that I could just jump into and expect to get the same results like I did in the field. Because when you're in the field, you're in the field. It's very easy to isolate put your phone on D&D and you're just with your clients, right? But when you're doing telesales and I'm at home and I got like the last time I was on, my kid, she's 3 now, but she was 2 when I first started telesales, and she's crying because I'm not letting her eat glue. And I got the client on the phone, and I got the 5-year-old crying because she wants the tablet. And it's just like really hard to navigate, right? So I also had to learn child. Childcare is a really important piece. When we make the money we make, we have to make sure that we're investing in our business. And childcare was the biggest piece for me to realize I'm not meant to do this all on my own. Bye, baby. I'm not meant to do this all on my own. I have to have help.
No doubt. But that's one thing that I learned early on, is that businesses are supposed to have help. That's how they expand and grow. Like, it's 10 times easier for you to operate if you allot yourself enough time to make the money to pay for what you care about so that it's taken care of and you're not concerned. You're managing that concern like you're like trimming the hedges on that concern as opposed to re-whacking it and weeding it.
Absolutely. It was really hard because my kids started kindergarten, my oldest this year. And in the beginning, she was really, really struggling. And that's because I didn't bring in help. I was thinking, I'm a mom. I'm a single mom. I have to do this. Like, I failed as a mom if somebody else is doing her homework with her, right? I'm like super concerned. But then I realized I was failing her by not getting the help that I needed. She was struggling because I was being too egotistical to be able to allow the help for her, Like, so as soon as I hired the nanny and I released that from myself, it was over.
Dude, you should hear yourself. The difference in how many months am I talking? Okay, is this a year? Is this about a year?
About a year, yeah.
Holy cow. This is great, dude. You should hear yourself. Congratulations. I mean, this is how life works, right? These aha moments, these epiphanies, the elevation, riding the elevator, going up the stairs, trying to figure out how to go to the next level. You sound different, and that's a positive thing, a lot more honed in and dialed in. But, things that 2 years ago, I remember coming up to Detroit 2, maybe even 3 years ago, this wasn't even on the radar. You're like, this is just not even a thing. The stress of doing this business and being a mom was overwhelming. And now you've made sense of it, right? And now you have a business that's thriving and you're killing it as a mom. You understand how this meshes, right? Like, it's not like you have to kind of shut this thing off and shut this thing off. Sometimes it's like that, and sometimes it just runs together, And I find, that the most successful people do the best at meshing, What is your take on, what you're seeing and your development? What is your take on what you're seeing now from you?
I realized, and I said this before, the levels of selfishness. You don't think in the moment that you're being selfish, right? You don't think that that's what's happening. And I've watched I went from thinking that myself is the source, and I'm going to get a little bit spiritual because that's been a huge process,
Awesome.
a huge part of my development, because Stephen Means really helped me realize my upline isn't my source. You're not my source. You may be a resource, but I keep going to all these pieces, right, so upset that it's not working. Oh, they told me to do this. It's not working. I'm hitting my head on the ceiling. Maybe I'm not cut out for this business, but as soon as I put my head down and I got down and I prayed and I really talked to God, nice, and I listened, I was quiet. Everything flipped for me.
You minister.
And I even got killed with that.
You
Like,
just gave me chills. You ministering right now.
man, everything flipped for me. And I realized when you start leading with a purpose, because I know my purpose is to help people. And it's so beautiful because this industry allows you to do it with personal development and help families when they're in a bad situation. And most of the times when you get your clients, they're not in the best position possible. And you're helping them lay the foundation to get to that position. And I know that's exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And I have to make sure I keep reinvesting in that cycle and keeping God at the focal point and not a person or a resource.
It's huge, man. That is huge. That is the day-to-day struggle of man. And when you get there, and you can ebb and flow in and out of it, but when you get there, when you realize that, my wife, she is the queen of that is not our provider. And she said she was in school. She was working at a school, and I proposed to her. We got engaged. We were dating long distance, and they let her go because it was like, oh, they had no idea what her plans were. But they said, oh, you're moving to New Jersey, or you're not going to be here, and they let her go. And she was crushed, but she's early 20s at the time, and she said from that point on, she realized that the school was not her provider. And she's always stuck with that. I lose it every day, you know what I'm saying? But she's the one who's always pointing it back to me like, you need to focus on the provider, which is him, So that's really good. That's ministering. So I appreciate that. And then that's so huge because it says so much about your growth and development, and it changes the trajectory by like a millionfold.
Period.
But that just can't be said with the way I just said it. So let's talk about the trajectory. Let's talk about now the lift that's not as heavy.
Well, I never had consistency because I know how to produce, right? I know how to go out and I know how to help families, but I was doing it like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, where I'll go and I'll make 30 families. And then the next month I'm chilling. And I will be told, by mentors like, Kayla, what are you doing? You are wasting your potential. You keep putting yourself in this roller coaster. And I'm like, no, it's sales. This is just how all sales are. Look at the mortgage industry. Look at this. Look at that. Sales goes up and down. No, it's Kayla. It's Kayla. So as soon as I took that accountability, I realized, and I heard Christy Wolf today say it again. You have to set it and not look at your daily sales. You can't look at them. You cannot hone yourself in, because when you work a 9 to 5, do you look and say, okay, I made $150 today? No, you looking at what you're getting in your bank account on that direct deposit day every other week or twice a week. So as soon as I was able to change my mindset with, you can have a bad day, you can have a bad week, but you're not going to have a bad month here. Absolutely not going to have a bad month. So if you work your set schedule consistently and hold yourself to real expectations, because in my mind, I'll set these expectations for myself where I'll be like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to work 8 to midnight because I can dial till midnight on Cali time. Girl, you got to make dinner. You got to make sure clothes are ready tomorrow. Why are you even setting that expectation, and where are you going to fit in your own mental health?
Right.
That part is so important because so much of telesales is mindset. When I set up those realistic, consistent schedules, I was able to hit 30 after 30 after 30 consistently in the months. And that gave me the ability to start building my business.
That is everything. Look at the nuggets coming out from the Queen of Metamorphosis. I love it. I think this is a good time to talk about how you came up with the name Metamorphosis.
I have gone through a lot of things that I'm 26, and most women at 35 haven't been through the things that I've been through. And in the time I was thinking of the name, I wanted to represent the changes that we go through and how we evolve as people, because we're never the same person that we were yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to be able to embrace that in our name, because I am consistently and constantly looking to become the better version of myself. Right? We're all supposed to be working toward being more like God. And I just want to get to a place where it's so selflessly driven. And the best way to do that is to help other people achieve the best versions of themselves as well. So we're a group of people, and that's what it represents, working to be the best version of ourselves.
That's amazing. And, when we talk about you coming off your best month ever, followed by your best week ever, there's some leadership that you're providing to people. And there's probably developing leaders on your team that are coming out of the woodworks. So what does that day-to-day process look like? And, within you're running a live dial, correct?
Yes, sir.
And within the live dial and some of the things that you guys are doing.
We have leadership, and it's important that we see those qualities in our people and we nurture them and we get them to the level to be able to give them some type of responsibility, because people like to feel a part of something and they want to matter. And when you give them assignments or duties, they're more engaged. So I started learning our first lock-in is where I was able to determine, because a lot of these people, I see them in boxes all day. And as much as I want to say that, like, I knew them, when we did our lock-in, we didn't produce the level of sales that I wanted, but I left there with leaders that I could walk away from the platform for a day and it wasn't dying. And that's what I really needed. So when I was able to do that and help develop them, it was a game changer to be able to see them in person. And lock-ins are so key, especially when you're doing telesales. You need that for your culture. You need that to develop your team and to really be able to highlight. So we did this workbook on personal development that I created at the lock-in, and I gave each of the business partners that I have a little assignment to talk to us about. And from that, I was able to determine, hey, Keith is really good talking about scheduling and setting expectations. Steve knows how to get people to work. Jess, quality and her rapport she can build on the phone. So by doing that, I was able to highlight them and put them in positions inside of the live dials to train. And everyone was no longer just hearing me. Your team can't just hear you.
Amen. That's strong. I mean, think about the journey you have been on. Man. I'm going to take this time again to say that I'm so excited for you, and I'm super proud of you. I know what you had to fight through to get to where you are, and I'm excited for the future. Let's go a step further now. You're talking about your agents and bringing them into the live dial, your recruiting efforts. What are y'all doing to recruit, and then how are y'all being detailed with your onboarding?
Hire an admin. As soon as you hit 50, you need an admin, because going back, it's impossible to do everything yourself. So I was like thinking I can do contracting with my agents. I can onboard them. I can guide them through pre-licensing. I can onboard their agents. You drown. It's very, very easy. As soon as you get 5 bodies that write, you have 5 writers. It's very, very important that you get the right assets to help you achieve that.
Hmm.
So my admin, her name is Chazelle. She is amazing.
Hmm.
Also very blessed to be. Yeah,
I love the way you said that. I
is
couldn't
amazing.
handle that.
Woo! The pressure that took off me, I was like, oh, that's why they said to do this.
Right.
Get it. It's worth it. And then I'm really blessed because I am a part of Mo Ray's system.
Mm.
So Chazelle, we have shifted. Chazelle now handles, we recruit like crazy and we do it in the platform. And where we really pulled on that from is when you guys started doing the pizza blast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Warm Market Blitz. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, they do that in person. Why we can't do it online? So Steve Means has been one of my biggest assets in that sense because he is a driving force. He's brought in the last 2 weeks, him and his business partner Alicia, which is his daughter, 13 agents.
Wow.
They get contracted and they write business.
Mm-hmm.
Last week we had 2 new writers and they were from him.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to use that and know like, okay, this might not be what I specialize in, but I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna get to his level. I'm gonna teach all the sales and the products and the training I can give him for him to feed back into us.
Mm-hmm.
And that has just really killed it for us. We do live dials recruiting as well. That we really highlight when we report our numbers. We are reporting our recruits and then our sales because teaching them to build a business, if I could teach anybody to do sales. I can. It's not that hard of a process.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot harder to teach people to recruit. So if we start doing that from the beginning, that's what's changed the trajectory.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about recruiting from the beginning. Can you get granular for me?
In the beginning, I didn't even want a team. I just wanted to produce. And then I meet this man, Steven Means, and I'm going to say his name until everybody knows it, I swear, because he's really what changed it for me.
Mm-hmm.
He consistently made me do the numbers and the calculations for the VP bonuses. You can't get a VP bonus by yourself. Did you know that? Yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah.
He would literally call me every single night and tell me to get out my pen, my ready, until I learned the number. So then I learned we're not going to get there. Only me and him recruiting like this. We have to breed them as they're coming in to do it. That's exactly what we're doing. So when they come in, they're listening to live dials. And then we have a schedule point change around noon. We are all dialing to recruit in the system. All of us. So we're going through, we're scouring, we're doing ZipRecruiter, we're doing whatever we can on different platforms. Social media has been absolutely huge for us. Being able to leverage and do TikToks. Alicia is killing the game with the TikToks and the social media. And that's where a majority of their recruits come from. And then they implemented a 8 a.m. social media training. So now instead of once a week, they're getting a little bit of information on how to recruit. No, we're doing it with them 8 a.m. Tuesday through Friday for 30 minutes.
That's great. I remember when I first met Steven Means, we were in Atlanta. And I'm like, yo, this dude has poise. He has it. He has it. To hear, you continually repeat his name in a positive format of what he's bringing to the table is amazing. And I love to hear that. And I'm glad he's such a cog in the wheel because he brings a lot of intangibles to the table. So to hear the way he's utilized those intangibles to help lift up you and the team that's impressive and selfless and awesome. So listen, man, there's a lot of growth nuggets on this podcast, from all the things that you've experienced and kind of where you are currently. My favorite is the fact that you're making money and investing money. Like, I think I heard on this call 2 staff people One that works in your home with you and your kids, and one that's an admin.
Yes.
You make money, you hire the help you need.
And we're working on a third. Because we know we need a recruiter on top of Chazelle.
Right.
We know it.
So it's like, it's a business. It's not make money, go on vacation. It's not make money, hoard it. It's not make money, don't do nothing. It's not make money and chill for 2 weeks. It's make money, address the things that are holding you down today so you can free up your time and move to more important items for the business so that you can keep pushing the business forward by utilizing help on the ground level to help free you up from the things that are bogging you down that don't make the business as much money. So that's huge. And I have
to give a little bit of credit to a lot of credit to you, because you told me we had a one-on-one in, like, I want to say September, and you told me, why are you not buying back your time? Your time is the most expensive thing you have, and you're just throwing it away. And I really had to sit with that. And it bothered me, and because you don't always like to hear the things you need to hear. And I was like, screw him. He don't know what he's talking about. Buy my time back. I'm using my time just fine. We think we know it all. And then I sat with him and I said, all right, it's time for a nanny. It's time for the admin. He's right. And then boom.
But look what the result is. And you think, you're like, now watch this. You think the cost of that person is the most damning thing in the world until you get them in position thriving. You're like, I'll never not pay that. Yes?
Facts.
Yes?
Facts.
Like, you think that cost is the worst thing in the world. You want to hold the money until they're the right person in the right position, lifting the right amount of weights and getting this stuff off of you. And you're like, whoa. And you actually look back and go, why am I not busy? Because the stuff that was holding you down is now up off of you. So there's a lot more we could do here. Whew. But I appreciate you. I appreciate your growth. I appreciate what you're doing, your commitment to the business, the focus, all the things you have to challenge yourself with to get where you are and to continue to strive on the path you're on. So it's amazing to watch, and I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for being our guest. God bless everybody. Training Day, we appreciate you. We're all going through a metamorphosis, Kayla. God bless.